Welcome back to the Padilla family homestead. We are back in the garden. It is definitely a fall garden. There are leaves everywhere. So far, everything's growing great, which is awesome. But it is time for me to get garlic in the ground. It's actually past time for me to get garlic in the ground, but I'm going to get that done today. And depending on how I'm feeling, I'm going to get the asparagus chopped down and mulched as well because it is time. So let me bring you over here and show you what we have going on. So this is the bed that I'm planning on using. We ordered our garlic from King Garlic. I actually showed when we got this in before. I spent some time today splitting it out. Now, I got elephant garlic, and elephant garlic comes in already split out. That's like 1 clove of garlic, guys. It's huge. So this is actually in the leek family, but I'm going to get this planted today, along with 2 different hardneck varieties. I have Korean red Wisconsin hardneck, and then I have Zemo, which is a porcelain hardneck. So the porcelain has smaller, some smaller cloves. No, the red. The Korean red has some smaller cloves, and the porcelain all has larger cloves. So this is a great example of all of them. So this is the Korean red. They're this size or smaller. This is the Zemo. It's a porcelain, and most are about this size. And this is the elephant garlic, which is really a leek. And they're this size or slightly smaller. So, this is my first time planting garlic, so if I'm doing anything wrong, feel free to, or you think I'm doing anything wrong, feel free to drop comments and suggestions in the box. I'm here to learn, but also to share my process, and I'll be sharing along the way. So everything that I've read says that this needs to be planted 6 weeks before the ground freezes. That's very different than 6 weeks before the first frost, because the first frost is just the top, and that's pretty much 32 degrees. But the ground freezing, the ground's temperature is a completely different temperature. So I'm hoping I'm still okay. I wanted to plant it about the time we had the 9 inches of rain in a week, and then I got sick. So it actually worked out that I didn't plant it because I got 9 inches of rain in a week, and they probably would have rotted. So I'm going to go ahead and just do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the soil in these beds. I'm going to try as much as possible to do it in this first bed. If I need to go into the second bed, I will. Then what I'm going to do is loosen it. I'm going to add in a bag of compost that I bought and kind of mix that in. I will plant the garlic, and then I'm going to cover it. Now, how I'm covering it is going to be a variety of different ways. So I got this organic compost, which the place pretty much called mulch because it is really barky. So I'm going to do some of that, and then I'm also going to do some of these leaves. I'm going to use free compost, or not free compost, free mulch. So I'm going to cover with that as well, and kind of see how it's working and judge from there. The asparagus, we're going to go ahead and cut down, and then I'm probably going to rake a bunch of these leaves into there. So I'm going to do a lot of the raking towards the end. I'll probably rake some of this into a pile just so I can see what I'm about to kneel on. But overall, we're just going to get in here and get this bed going. Now, I kind of waited also because the cats were using this, trying to use it as a litter box. more than anything, they were peeing in it. So I gave it a few weeks. We figured out how to keep the cats out, I think. We figured out how they were getting in, and my husband Jimmy rigged a stay out of this area thing for them, and so far I haven't seen them in here a whole lot. So actually I haven't seen them in here at all, which is amazing. So we'll see if that changes while I'm out here. But what I'm probably going to do is, once I plant everything, go ahead and just leave these poles sitting here, because it kind of deters the cats from digging up in that area. And I'm not using those poles right now. I may end up building a frost cover in my original spot I wanted to, but back here where I have some pansies and snapdragons planted, but we will see what I end up doing. So I'm gonna get started because I'm gonna run out of energy and just get this going. So today is November 11th that I'm working on this. I'm not sure what day you're gonna see the video yet, but happy Veterans Day, and thank you for serving, for anybody who served our country. And we're gonna get in here and get to work. Okay, so what I ended up doing was raking first, and I decided that I wanted to try to rake this big pile of leaves just over the asparagus bed to get it kind of out of the way instead of raking them all over the place. So I went ahead and I cleared off the beds, got all the PVC piping out of them that I had laying in them, and started cutting down the asparagus. I will say this is my first time gardening in the fall here in Arkansas, and the things that live under these leaves is amazing. Amazing and disgusting. I found a baby snake. I found some baby lizards. I found a few tarantulas. I found all kinds of things. And so you'll see a couple places like right here where I start looking at things. I'm going, I don't know if I want to keep raking there. Let me think about where I'm going to go. And I have to get my nerve up to kind of walk over there again and work on it, because that's where the baby snake was. So I end up getting myself together, my acting gear, and I finish raking and finish chopping down the asparagus. Now, this is my first time doing the asparagus, and I will say that all I did was take my shears and prune them about an inch above the ground. I don't know what you're supposed to do or not. I was kind of surprised to see a bunch of baby asparagus coming up. Well, not a bunch, I guess about 5 or 6 baby asparagus popping up. I was also very happy to see that some of my asparagus ferns had actually grown berries, which the berries have the little seeds in them and will cause new asparagus to grow. And this year has definitely been a learning curve with these. It's kind of cool to see how this stuff grows that you buy at the grocery store, and what care and stuff goes into it. So just trim that down. I try to trim down any big weeds that were in here as well. I'm always keeping an eye out for more snakes. And then I decided that I was just going to rake that bed into it and start raking some of these other leaves into the bed and give a really good layer of mulch. Now, since I have put these on the bed, I have since learned that leaves can kind of mat down and suffocate your plants a little bit if you're not careful, if you don't break them up. So these were pretty wet. I was kind of like not being gentle with them, so I'm hoping some of them broke down. But once we have a few dry days again, hopefully, I will go out there and I will just keep working those leaves and helping them to break up. I do not want them to become one solid mat that kills what's underneath it. So just take that with a grain of salt as you're doing this. The other thing that can happen, from what I understand, are tick seeds or eggs, or not seeds, tick eggs live on those leaves. And so you want to be careful of what you're allowing to harbor over the winter. So when you're planting garlic, you need to have loose soil. So I just got the hula hoe out, and I really was just loosening all that soil up as best as I could, and then kind of evened it out with the rake. I'm going to pour some compost on top of it. I have one bag that the place had left, so I split that between the two beds right here. One will eventually be for the onions and one's for the garlic. And then I rake that out. That way it's pretty evenly distributed throughout the bed. And then I'm just planting my garlic varieties. They're supposed to be about, things to say different things, 3 to 6 inches apart. So for the most part, I was sticking with 3 inches diameter around it. And so trying to stagger them and pay attention to where I'm putting them. So I did one variety closer to the asparagus. I think it was my porcelain variety. Actually, no, it was the red. The red one was the closest one. And then the porcelain, and then the elephant garlic was the one furthest from the asparagus. So I just put them in. Now I will say, make sure you don't cover up your holes, because it's a little hard when you're doing this to remember where you're putting them. And it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction to just automatically cover them. So I got to the point where I remembered not to auto cover and just plant. And so you're putting root side down, and the tip where the green would grow out, pointed to the top. The bottom of the garlic is about 1.5 inches down in the ground, and just so that the top just barely touches the top. And then I'm going to cover that up, and then I'll put that mulch, and you'll see that mulch that I got is really just fine bark, like wood chips. It's really weird. So I get that over the top, and then I go ahead and I put my leaves on the top. Now I will say, because this is a channel where you're watching our lives, that I have no idea if we're going to be in this house when it comes time to harvest this garlic. We don't know all those things. And so we're doing the best we can where we are, and growing what we can where we are. And so we will see what happens come summer, and when these things are ready for me to harvest, and what we can do. But I don't want to just not plant anything, and I had already ordered these, so it was important that I get them in the ground, because otherwise they're just going to waste. The other nice thing is this really kind of cleaned up a bunch of leaves in the garden. I want to go out there again, probably after it rains, and get some other leaves up on some of these other beds to just cover the soil. But I'm really happy with using the leaves as a mulch at this point. We have some rain coming in on Wednesday, and then we have a possibility of snow in our future, which is crazy. So I watered these down and got them ready to just rest. And that's it. I am done for the day. I'm actually pretty whooped, but asparagus is cut, and try to get my finger in the right direction here. The asparagus is cut and mulched. The garlic is planted and mulched, and then this bed is ready for spring. I'm just mulching it so the weeds don't grow, and it helps get the soil better. And that's going to be for the onions. Any leftover onions are going to go where the corn was over here. I'm just going to put a few of these bars across here just in case, to try to deter any creatures, including squirrels. I say cats, but squirrels are out here doing damage too. So another day I will be raking up the rest of these leaves out of the pathways and things and putting them onto the beds, because organic matter is good for the beds. So I'd rather have them in the beds than on the walkway. But that's it. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you back here on the next video.